Landmark moment in American history. President Biden just back from the Geneva summit with Vladimir Putin, about to make Juneteenth a national holiday.
On June 19, 1865, the last enslaved Americans in Galveston, Texas, got word the Civil War was over and they were free.
The bill passed unanimously in the Senate, but 14 Republicans opposed the bill in the House.
The federal recognition of Juneteenth sets forth a level of national support for something that Black Texans had begun to celebrate several years ago.
First new federal holiday in decades, co-sponsored by South Florida Representative Frederica Wilson.
This is an important day for African Americans across the world.
And we are marking Juneteenth by spotlighting the woman behind the holiday. Opal Lee is known as the Grandmother of Juneteenth for her relentless push to make June 19th a federally recognized holiday.
There are special projects that, such as this one, and the project that we did last year at the lake, which just motivated me, inspired me to do something else. This is the biggest project that I've ever been the executive producer of and the director of. I was staying in one of the lodges and I had a dream, and that's how this product, the Opal Lee project, Juneteenth July Jubilee, came about in a dream that I had.
Friend of mine, a high school graduate here also, named Dr. July Jubilee. She contacted me after she had had a Juneteenth program at Twin Lakes in Prince Edward County, Virginia. And the first one that she had was to help recognize her father. And she celebrated that about a year ago down at Twin Lakes. And as a result of that, she got an idea that she would do another one, and she contacted me. I think I was the first one she spoke to and asked, would I be interested in helping her to promote that? And in the same vein, she said, I'd like to get Dr. Opal Lee to come and be our guest speaker. And I'm going, wow, that's a mighty lofty idea you have there. And I'm somewhat reluctant, but being a friend and being persuasive as she is, I agreed, okay, I'll see what I can do to help.
Dr. July Jubilee, she is such a fireball. And when she told me about it and asked me to be a part of the team, I said unequivocally yes, because this is something that is historic for us to do and honor Dr. Opal Lee, who walked over, 1,100 miles from Texas to Washington, D.C. to help make this happen.
As we contact people, individuals, they were happy about the idea and more than willing to work and make it happen. And moving forward, each time Dr. Jubilee would contact someone and ask, talk to them about the idea, it sort of mushroomed with them, and each time I did it, or Patricia, or Wanda Morrison did it, people were elated about the idea, happy and excited, and they wanted to be a part of it. And it just commenced growing and growing and growing until today it's coming to fruition. And we are very excited about it. We are very excited about it.
And the main motivation for doing this is really my father, the Reverend John Henry Brown, who was in the 1390 Black Battalion when he was 17, built the dams and all the other projects that surrounded Twin Lakes, which used to be Goodwin Lake and Prince Edward State Park, was for African Americans only. And the state honored him before the pandemic, and then last year I co-produced the first Juneteenth that it was ever held on the side of the lake during Jim Crow, especially for what they call quote-unquote Negroes or colored people.
In the 1930s, the United States was in the midst of the Great Depression. People didn't have jobs, people didn't have money, and Franklin Delano Roosevelt, FDR, as part of his New Deal plan, came up with the idea of the Civilian Conservation Corps. And the purpose was to put young men to work, to give them 3 meals a day, to give them a pair of boots, to pay them $30 a month, 25 of which they had to send back home to their families to help support their mothers and fathers and their siblings, and they got to keep $5. A lot of times the companies had baseball teams or fun competitions between the different camps, but a lot of those camps had very different jobs. So many of them built state parks, many of them worked on state forests, national park systems, local municipality infrastructure needs, but some of the consistencies are focused around natural resource management and recreation opportunities. So building dams to create lakes for recreation, putting in trails, controlling wildfires to protect the local communities, planting trees, things like that. Because it was well before the Civil Rights Act, all those companies were also segregated. And so the company that built Twin Lakes State Park, the 1390th, was an all-black battalion of the CCC. John Henry Brown was a member of that company.
I think it was divinely inspired from the Most High Creator to Dr. Yamaja. And it was something that was inspired because, again, I said we're spiritual beings having a human experience, right? So Spirit spoke to her and said, listen, honor Dr. Opal Lee. And as she honored Dr. Opal Lee, she's also honoring her father. And now her father was to be at the event because he was one of the folks that helped to pave the ground that the lake sits on. And he helped to pave this ground at a time where people of color were not permitted, even on a particular side of the lake. And then he also paved the ground for the people of color who were permitted to be just on one side of the lake. And then later on, there was a time where that gap was bridged, and he was a part of that as well. He was, during his life on earth, and he still is, in his spiritual being, an extraordinary human being that did extraordinary things to bring people together. And it's the same thing that Dr. Yamaja Jubilee is doing.
Then later on, after about 5 years in my career of working in the woods, I met a gentleman by the name of Reverend John Henry Brown. From then on, I helped Stone Container and worked with Mr. John Brown for approximately 12 to 15 years. And then I went out to helping other companies cut wood as a timber contractor. Well, I've been knowing Dr. Jubilee long time. When I met her father, I met her. So I've been knowing her quite some time. And she asked me, I came to one of the events at the park, at the lake where they had for Mr. John Brown, which is her father, and they gave him a memorial for the good that he did when he was working as a young man he helped build the park. So she asked me would I help her support it and take this to another level. So I have always believed in helping people raise money, give money, whatever it takes to get things done. And even in this neighborhood, Halifax County, anywhere, I help all the time. So when she asked me that, I said, well, I can help you raise the money to do what you need to do. If things is working, he said, if it's working, continue to do what you're doing. Just keep on working every day. He said, like a hammer, just keep hitting it, keep hitting it. Eventually, you're gonna drive it. So I have to say that I owe a lot of my success to him. And that's one reason why I want to do as much as I can for Dr. Jubilee so her father can be in history in years to come.
And I had to talk to Kevin about it. And I talked to Kevin about it, and he said yes. And that was the beginning of moving forward to find out what it would take, who it would take, how much it would cost.
The first time I met Dr. Amijah, I was sitting in my office and I heard someone out at our gift shop desk talking to one of the Rangers, and she had a really interesting story. I like to listen in from back there and see if I can catch interaction sometimes. But she was talking about her father, who was still alive and was an original member of the CCC company that built the park. And well, that obviously piqued my interest because not only did I not know any of them were still alive, but I had never met any of their family. So I stepped out of my office and we started talking about her father, what brought her out to the park, and what she does and some of the interests she has. And that really started a relationship that has continued to this day of partnership in working to tell the stories of his company and some of the unique history of Twin Lakes State Park. Amijah inspires people, for one, but just the unique story. I mean, honestly, having the opportunity to work with a surviving CCC member from that period, that's the type of opportunity that park rangers, that's a career moment, a career memory that they look back on, and those interactions they hold dear. So that was always a really big factor of that. But Amijah is a force multiplier when it comes to getting things done and telling these cool stories and bringing people together. So a park is a really busy place, especially during the summer, but year round. But she helped keep the momentum going on that project. She would come to me with very exciting opportunities and partnerships, and just this positive enthusiasm that really brought that initial project together of the dedication of this shelter we're under right now, but also the Juneteenth programs we've had since. The 1390th CCC company that built the park was an all-black company of the CCC, and we have some basic details of what they did, planting 4,500 trees in the park, building the dams that built the park, several hundred miles of fire line and trail constructed. But as far as really good records of who was in it and what they did on a day-to-day basis, it was over almost 100 years ago now. So a lot of that just gets lost in time. But when we find people like John Henry Brown Jr., Amijah's father, who were there, who can tell us the stories and have those pieces of history that we can take advantage of now, we jump on that. John Henry Brown passed earlier this year. If I remember correctly, it was just a few weeks before his 99th birthday, which, man, it would have been cool to get to 100, but wow, what a lifetime. I was very fortunate, even just to catch him in the last couple of years of his life, to be able to learn about him, to hear him speak, to talk with Amijah about some of the things he did. Earlier this year, she invited me to speak at his funeral, and that was an incredible honor. and not only to recognize all the wonderful things he did, some of which throughout his life. Lots of other people talked about that, but I had the opportunity to talk about his time in the CCC. And one of the coolest things about that is I was able to tell his family things about him that they didn't know. So I had so many people come up to me afterwards and thank me for talking about that, for educating them on all the wonderful things he did so early in his life, because he had a life full of overcoming, of bringing joy and opportunities to others, and just a really well-lived life. So I'm just glad I got to meet him before he died. And then the opportunity to work with his daughter on an event that not only connects with his career and the CCC, but also with the unique stories of Twin Lakes later, even after he had gone on from the park.
She's also applauding those that helped her father build the walkway, that helped Dr. Opal Lee walk that arduous walk. But also, it's a way to show gratitude to our ancestors that lived, that worked, that bled, that died, that served. Because it's not our differences that make us great only, but it's our differences that we look at and say, let's still join hands. Let's still work together, because we have so much to learn from each other.
We are currently waiting for Dr. Opal Lee to arrive, who is the grandmother of Juneteenth. She is a warrior. She's one of our leaders that, even at 97 years old, that continues to fight for the rights and even acknowledgement of groups who are marginalized and oppressed, even at her age. So she's an inspiration. No matter how old you are, she proves that you should never stop working.
I'm really excited about hearing Dr. Opal share her testimony and share her story about how Juneteenth came to be a national holiday, and just the things that she went to as a Black woman to get to where she is, where now she has this national influence. It's very exciting, it's very encouraging, and I am ready to learn.
So when we got the phone call from Dr. Jubilee and the CCC to partner, we said yes immediately. And it was such a blessing to serve in such a historical event. This is very significant, and we're excited to be a part of it.
I'm so excited because this is a monumental and a historic event, and I get to meet a lot of people, and we get the opportunity to hear about all of the historical points and all of the things that brought us here today.
I'm looking forward to receive a wealth of knowledge from all of the speakers, specifically Dr. Opal Lee. I'm excited about her commitment to the Juneteenth initiative, even the historical park, Twin Lakes. Although I went to high school in Cumberland, Virginia, I've never been to the park, and I heard the history about the park, that this park was opened up for African Americans during a time when they did not have access. That speaks to the legacy of this park, the legacy of this historic moment, and I'm excited to be a part of it. So anyone who is planning on being in the area, this is the place that you want to be. We are celebrating all month. We had Juneteenth last month, 4th of July yesterday, and the party continues. So I'm excited to be a part of it.
I just had an opportunity to meet Dr. Opal Lee, the grandmother of Juneteenth. She's an iconic figure. She's a historic figure. You know, one of the main voices behind making Juneteenth a holiday in the United States of America. I'm proud because Richmond was one of the first localities in Virginia to make Juneteenth a holiday, and then the Commonwealth followed behind us, and to be in the same space as Dr. Lee, just an amazing experience. President Biden invited me to the White House when he signed the bill that made Juneteenth a national holiday. Dr. Lee was there as well, and so to see her in my city, to see her in my state, just gives you goosebumps all over, because a historic figure and icon is set foot right here in Richmond. So I think Virginia is the epicenter of all things history, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And being in Farmville, being in Prince Edward County, where part of the Brown v. Board fight, with the Moton High School and the historic figures coming out of Prince Edward County, for her to step foot there, I mean, it's almost like you've come full circle. Obviously, Dr. Lee will likely give the message that the fight still continues, right? We cannot rest on our laurels. Yes, we have freedoms today, but remember that we want to ensure that every and all have freedoms tomorrow and into the future as well.
Giving our lives for our freedom, how it burns. We opened our minds to the knowledge, lift us up. We aim for the skyline, revolution to be tough. Created a culture with the arts, living large. Oh, Jim Crow don't show no love. We know it's true. Push and protest and pray. Prepare the way, like sun to the day we're light. We are light. We shine forevermore, 'cause we know.
In my mind, there is something that says you can do anything if you believe it, walk in it, and trust what is being given to you. This has been given to you to do here, and everything will fall in place. And then there's the other side, oh, this is the biggest thing that you've ever done. You don't have the money, you don't have the people to help. Are people gonna buy into this? Are they gonna think you're crazy when you tell them that you had this dream about this lady being here?
Living our lives for our freedom, how it burns. We opened our minds to the knowledge, lift us up. We echo the skyline, revolution to be tough.
The whole idea behind it is to try to educate people about our history, our past history, and to help them to understand that our history is pretty much tied to our future as well. The future, their future, as well as their children's future. And that's what we try to do, bring people together and help them get a better knowledge and understanding from whence we've come and where we need to go.
We look back and reflect. Not to point the finger of blame, but to say, this is a part of American history that we must discuss, because if we don't understand where we've come from, we will repeat the past. I think the primary thing, though, for Juneteenth is because Juneteenth helps us to understand that although the slaves were said to be free in 1863, all slaves were not free. It wasn't until 1865 when the last Confederate community of enslaved Americans in Galveston, Texas, were made free. And as I always say, when one person is enslaved, then to some degree we are all enslaved because we are all connected. I truly believe that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And when we are enslaved in our mind, in our spirit, even in our emotions and in our body, then truly a part of each of us is enslaved.
Like sun to the day, we are light. Let it shine forevermore. Brilla mi gente morena, mañana hasta el fin. Comme le soleil est à chaque jour, nous brillons pour tout le monde. Commençons par aujourd'hui, brillaremos et la eternidad. Like sun to the day, we are light. We gon' let it shine forevermore. Black History Song.
The event I'd say, was a great success. The people that we had come out, the stories that we got to tell, the groundwork we got to set for future events to build on, I think that was about as well as we could do. You were there, you know how hot it was that weekend, so I think that affected our attendance a little bit, but we still had several hundred people come out to the event.
But the main point, the mission and the vision, is what I hear you saying, is to educate, to bring something up from where it was, and to show people what and why we celebrate our freedom, and honor our culture, honor our history, and just elaborate and elevate and just talk about how exciting this is to educate young people that don't know, and everybody that's in the surrounding counties and communities.
Dr. Opal Lee is a pure example of hard work and dedication. Her early job as an educator and her strive for this holiday is so inspirational. Her actions make me want to touch the lives of so many other people just like she did.
Dr. Opal Lee is the driving force behind Juneteenth. She is best known for her activism and as the grandmother of Juneteenth.
Her family moved to Fort Worth when she was 10, and 2 years later, she watched as 500 white rioters burned down her house.
Dr. Lee's story is an inspiration to stand up against injustices.
Dr. Lee leads a 2.5-mile walk each year, representing the 2.5 years it took for the news of the Emancipation Proclamation to reach Texas. It really emphasized the fact that age doesn't stop you from doing anything. Neither does race, gender, or just everyday problems in life. Her perseverance is very contagious, and it'll continue to spread not only through me, but to everyone here and everyone who knows about her. Dr. Opal Lee has once led an online petition that she had hoped would draw at least 100,000 signatures. She ended up with 1.6 million on June 17, 2021. President Joe Biden signed Senate Bill S-475, making Juneteenth the 11th federal holiday.
Good afternoon, young people. And just know you're all young people if you're not 97.
Oh, to get here in Virginia, I've never been here before, and everybody has been super nice. Oh, yesterday they had an outing about Juneteenth and the dances that the young people did and the music. Well, to tell you the truth, it was off the chain. Freedom's not just for people in Texas, not just for Black people. Freedom's for everyone. And we're not free yet. There's too much joblessness and homelessness and health care that some of us can get and others can't. And climate change that we are responsible for. I keep saying over and over again, if we don't do something about climate change, we all go into hell in a handbasket. So these things need to be attended to so that we can all be free. Our Bible tells us we are our brother's keeper, so we have to act like it. I believe already her father's legacy is being told, and it's going to be kept. It's going to be passed on to each generation so they'll know what he did and the sacrifices he made. I think that what's been done here will show others that they can do the same. And so I'm looking forward to being invited next year. I want the young people to know that they can do the same. That if it's something that's going to benefit the community, the one you live in, the one you work in, your church, your school, your city, your state, if you have an idea, then you're supposed to share it and not give it up, not let the naysayers turn you around, because they will if you let them. So, my thing is, young people, it's going to be left up to you to make yourself a committee of one to
change somebody's mind. You know people who aren't on the same page you are on, change their minds.
not gonna happen in a day. You're gonna have to work at it. But if people have been taught to hate, they can be taught to love, and it's up to you to do it. Thank you.
I remember standing there at the back where that gazebo is back there, and it was back there I was hugging Dr. Opal Lee on those grounds. The dream came clear because I was kind of foggy with what it was. But once I walked barefooted in the grass, I saw what I had dreamed the night before. I had dreamed that she was standing there making history just like my dad had at a Juneteenth celebration. And I was so happy because there was lots of people, lots of music, lots of drums. There's lots of celebration that was going on. And it was a Juneteenth to happen. I didn't know when, but that's the vision that I had then.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Honor God, Lord of my life, our Savior. Let us pray. Our Father. Yeah. God who sits high. Yeah. And looks low. Yes. God who is all. Yeah. Our all in all. Yes. In all our situations. Yes, Lord. In all of our circumstances.
But let me tell you what we do in Texas. We have a flag raising. The Juneteenth flag has so many symbols that the young people need to know about. And then there's a breakfast of prayer. Not a prayer breakfast where you're gonna eat a lot of food, but it is so beautiful and it has so much to offer. A breakfast of prayer. It is solemn, it is beautiful. Then there is a Miss Juneteenth pageant. The young girls get to show off the things they've learned, and they get scholarships. Not to mention Your Voice Unleashed. The kids from different nationalities get together. They learn to mime, the music, the drama, and in a year's time, in a week's time, they give a program. And there's the part of the Juneteenth where there are booths. You learn to buy a house, you learn to straighten up your credit, you learn to go to college, you learn where scholarships are. All of this is part of the Juneteenth. And I'm so delighted that people are taken to it. But in Fort Worth, we have ties that make us feel that we are going to build the National Juneteenth Museum right there in Fort Worth. Fort Worth, where the West begins. We feel like that the people in that area would be the ones to spread the word about how enslaved were freed. And so we have a $70 million museum plan. What we've done is raise some $33 million right in Fort Worth. So when I go out, I'm asking people for money. And we are going to open June 2026. And we're inviting everybody under the sound of my voice to come to the opening of the National Juneteenth Museum. And that's what the National Juneteenth Museum is gonna look like. At the corner of Rosedale and Evans, I have land there. And so, a young man came to me. He worked with one of the places downtown where I'd been asking for money for Juneteenth, and they didn't have it. But they sent him to sort of smooth it over and let me know that maybe next time when I asked that they'd have it. He sat there and told me about all the plans he had he wanted theater, museum, he wanted food halls, He wanted housing, a black box. As soon as he found the land, and I say, I've got some, and we've been joined at the hip ever since. He has done a magnificent job of raising the $70 million that it's going to take to put this together. And I'm going to be a happy camper.
It's because there's never been anybody of this caliber, anybody of this stature, anybody that's a 97-year-old activist. Have you known a 97-year-old activist that walked and is spreading the message? And she's doing it because her house got burned down in 1939 by white rioters on Juneteenth. So that tells you she's an educator, yes, but that's the main reason she pushed forth what she wanted. So the significance for everybody involved, they will be a part of for her dream come true.
Have brought us closer to you. That is what you have done for us. Thank you, Lord, for our soul salvation. Thank you, Lord, for blessing us.
Black history is American history. I don't care how you cut it, how you look at it, whether you try to dismantle, erase, erode it, or whatever you do, Black history is ingrained in the history of America. And right now, I think there's a feeling that we are less than and had nothing to contribute to the making of these Americas, this America right here, this land of freedom. And I think this program right here, along with others across this country, reiterate the fact that Black people were the ones who worked to help build the White House. Black people were the ones who helped inventions across this country, across this nation, across this world. And to say that Black people are ignorant and had nothing to contribute to civilization, that is the farthest thing from the truth as anything in this world. Everybody in this world has something to contribute to the growth of this world. We're all part of this world. We're all connected. We all had a hand in the construction of it, just like we have a hand in the destruction of it at this particular time.
And so the significance of Juneteenth is to say, our brother, our sister, those who are melanated, were freed, were given the unalienable rights of people that did not look like them. For white Americans, they had privileges that people of color did not have. And so, as a nation, we were able to rise to the cause of civility for all with harm to none. The interesting thing, though, that we continue to see, even though Juneteenth is a day that we honor and we are grateful for, is that even yet today, many of us are still enslaved in our minds. We are still enslaved in the areas where people of color can't buy houses in certain areas because there are powers that be that would keep us out. And so it's very significant that we continue to work on Juneteenth and what it means, because there is a level of equality that we all must face, not just people of color, but everyone that comes to this melting pot that we call America, the place that we call the land of the free and the home of the brave, the country that I fought for as a United States naval electrician. We all must be free. And so until everyone's free and feels a sense of equality, no matter what skin they're wrapped in, Juneteenth must continue to sound the bell of freedom. You know, we may have had a bloody past, but we do not have to have a bloody future. And it starts with being informed so that we can be better tomorrow and every day after than we were before.